So it's 2020 and Blumhouse have done a remake movie of Fantasy Island based on the 1979 to 1984 TV series starring Ricardo Montalban, Hervé Villechaize and every unemployed actor in America at the time. The question is it any good? I'm going to let you know. The movie is directed by Jeff Wadlow, who gave us Kick-Ass 2 and Truth or Dare. Made for about $7 million, so you know it's not going to be top draw Hollywood. Nobody's spending a lot of money on movies at the moment. And the cast is pretty good. We've got Michael Peña playing Mr. Rourke, who runs the Fantasy Island, of course. And Michael Peña, not bringing his A game, he's not really doing the thing he did in Ant-Man. And he does bring a slight bit of menace to it, so there's a little bit of the A game there, but not too much. We have Maggie Q playing Gwen, a woman who is looking for a turn in her life that she didn't take, so she wants a fantasy fixing that particular problem. We have Lucy Hale playing Melanie, a woman who is traumatized and haunted by childhood bullying and teenage bullying, and so she wants to get revenge against the woman who wronged her during her formative years. That woman's played by Portia Doubleday and gets her own kind of agency at some stage during the movie. We have Ryan Hansen and Jimmy O Yang playing a pair of frat boy kind of guys whose fantasies are pretty much anything you'll see in a Red Bull commercial. One of them is gay, one of them isn't, but their fantasies run along the same lines. Big house, party, lots of alcohol and attractive people. And we get Austin Stowell playing Patrick, a cop who wanted to be a soldier but didn't make it, and so his fantasy is to be a soldier. And it doesn't quite go the way he wants. In fact, nobody's fantasy goes quite the way they want. That is implicit, of course, in the trailer. The movie was filmed in Fiji and it looks good. All the different fantasies have different color gradings, so you pretty much know where you are at any given time until all of the protagonists get back together again as things take their twists and turns. And there's a really interesting supernatural element in it. Now, I'm going to address something right from this point onwards that people have been saying on the internet. They did it with the Banana Splits movie, which I liked for a kind of certain level, and it's this, that people are taking stuff from their childhoods and spoiling their childhoods. For a start, you can't spoil a childhood that's already happened. It's just silly. B, people don't remember in this particular case that in 1999 there was another series of Fantasy Island and Mr. Rourke was played by none other than Malcolm McDowell. So you already had the creepy shit spoiling your childhood in 1999. Just stop complaining, let the movie be what it is on its own terms, and see how you like it. Basically in this movie, the island is a giant monkey's paw. If you don't know what the monkey's paw is, it's a fossilized monkey's paw that people use. They get 3 wishes from it, and the wishes don't go well because people choose unwisely on the wishes. So Fantasy Island is a big supernatural monkey's paw where you get 1 wish, you get your fantasy, the fantasy doesn't go the way you want it to because the island is just plain bloody evil. There are some problems with this film. There's a lot of cross-cutting between the fantasies and the notes upon which those transitions are made. So one fantasy will get to a certain point and then you change to the next person's fantasy. Some of those tonal notes just simply don't work. Transitions aren't very good. Maybe that's a problem with the editing and the color grading, but it just kind of jars at various times. And they do it just that little bit too much. You've got to let certain things play out in each of the scenarios your protagonists are dealing with, and then find that natural pause point and move to the next one. It's not particularly an easy thing to do, but it's a skill that this kind of movie demands that the makers have, and it's just that little bit lacking in this one. The other person you get in this movie who lifts any movie in which he appears is Michael Rooker. He turns up as a scruffy guy in the jungle who was a private eye who was sent to investigate the island. He's found out most of the secrets of the island, but he can't get off it. He's got a machete, and look, any movie that has Michael Rooker looking incredibly disheveled and carrying a machete is at least worth your time. There's some actors just are like that. You appreciate them being in the movie, you like what they do, you like the persona they bring to it, you like their back catalogue of roles, and putting them in the movie is just, yep, I'm there. And for me, Michael Rooker with a machete is that for Fantasy Island. Having said that, he's not the most valuable player. The best bit of acting and the most lived-in feeling role in this whole piece is Maggie Q playing Gwen, who's a single woman. She's in her 30s. She's missed an opportunity for love and the kind of life that she wants. And the island gives her that fantasy of the husband and a child. And Gwen is the one person, more than anybody else in the whole lot, who has a pretty grounded moral compass. And even though she's getting everything she wants and she gets the memories of their life together and all those kind of things to fill it out, she knows it isn't real and she knows it's dishonest. And Maggie Q does a fantastic job of giving us that character and making us believe that character. And I kind of like that. It's acting above the level of a $7 million remake horror movie. And all props to her for that. She does a really, really nice job of it. And hers was the one character that I saw as a viewpoint character during the movie. And that matters a lot to me. You've got to have somebody to whom you can hitch your emotions. And somebody whose story you're invested in a kind of emotional way. The frat boys not so much. If they got their heads cut off, wasn't going to be a problem with me. By the way, there is another character in there as well. There's a mutilation doctor character who is creepy as hell. Big muscly guy, played by one of the most admirable people ever to play sport in Australia. A former rugby league star called Ian Roberts, who went on to have a career in movies. He was in Superman Returns, amongst other things, and a whole bunch of other things, usually playing big muscly thugs. But Ian Roberts was the first sports person of any prominence, particularly in rugby league in Australia, to come out as gay and to be supportive of young gay people living their lives. So all props to him. I'm glad he got the gig. I hope he got paid well for it. And I will watch something with Ian Roberts in it because I have that much respect for the man. The interesting thing too is this movie can also be seen as the origin story of a franchise, because there are some things that happen and some changes that are made during the course of the action and the events and the choices made by the characters that could lead us to a Fantasy Island series. Now, whether that happens or not, I don't know. The movie cost $7 million to make and made $47 million. So they got $40 million to play with there. That's part of the business model that Blumhouse has. Make them cheaply. If you make 40 or 50 million bucks from them, great. You invest that back into the company and you make more products. So there may well be a Fantasy Island 2. I think the $40 million they've made from it, particularly in an era when you can't go to the cinema and people can't see it in cinemas, is pretty good going. The industry is having some trouble at the moment, and who knows, something like Blumhouse and other smaller production companies like that may well be the wave of the future if the big productions can't get up and running and the pandemic spreads to the point where it's not safe or sensible to get things up and running again. Then maybe this kind of a studio will be the future. Though there are some things happening at the moment where places where the virus is being dealt with are starting to be looked at as places to produce movies. Now, Australia may be one of those places. We've only just, unfortunately, had our 100th death from the virus and a few thousand people contracting it. And we've got some lockdowns, we've got a lot of social distancing. We've got a lot of the ducks lined up for that. And so I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of productions continue or begin here in Australia and in New Zealand and other places where the health response to the problem has really started to get on top of it. And nobody's dealt with it completely yet, but there are promising things happening in various countries, including Australia. So the big movies may be coming back. But I digressed a bit there. So should you see Fantasy Island or not? Give it a go. You know, you're locked down. It beats just sitting there chugging back VB and scratching yourself. It's not a fantastic movie. It's watchable. It's entertaining. It's got some little twists and turns that are kind of interesting. And it's got at least one actor and one character that really do give us something worth viewing. Not perfect, not horrible. That's pretty much the best I can say about it. But But anyway, that's about it for this time around. Thank you very much for watching. Give the movie a go. Let me know what you thought of it as well. I'm always interested to get contrary opinions and the reasons why people came to those conclusions as well. We're having a great conversation on the comments at the moment, with one or two exceptions. I've had to block a couple of people who didn't like something that I showed visually on a much earlier video, but I'll deal with those people in another video. But anyway, in the meantime, look after yourself, stay safe, watch some good movies, watch some bad movies, hug the people you can hug at the moment, take care of yourselves. I'll be back soon with another review, a movie from 1973 which kicks ass. If I've earned it, please subscribe and like the channel, hit the notification bell and you can find out when my next videos come out. You get a little email about that, and I will see you soon with that movie from 1973 which I'm really looking forward to doing, and I'll see you then. By the way, I forgot to tell you, you do get tattoo in Fantasy Island, but in a bit of an unusual way. It's foreshadowed near the start of the film, but it's a nice little Easter egg there, so you've got that to enjoy anyway.